So let's see, culture. Russian culture, and kind of I've touched it a little bit, I guess, but is they're very loyal to the people they know and love, and they're helpful to strangers, but they also don't really go out of their way to converse with them necessarily. There's just some cultural things that people need to get used to. They don't smile unless they're around people they love and they're genuinely happy. Any other smile is considered being fake. And I actually really admire that. I think we probably smile too much here in America. And so they don't really smile in photographs at all, ever. Some of the youth maybe are getting there now, but even if it's a really happy day, even wedding days, sometimes it's just that's about it. They're really so kind when you get to know them and love them. If they love you and they know that you are just a trustworthy person, I mean, they'll do anything for you. They won't have food and they'll feed you, which is crazy. And it's just they're really generous, really giving of what they have. There is, I guess in reality, there's a lot of alcoholism in Russia. And so that definitely has its effects on the culture. There's a lot of families that have really struggled with alcoholism, and that damages a lot of people. But I don't know. There's also a lot of really cool miracles experiences with people overcoming that kind of stuff, just as there is anywhere. So that's cool. And I guess another, just to touch lightly on food, I guess, because that's a really big part of their culture, is they pretty much eat the same kinds of foods. Borscht, it's Russian beet soup, and it's delicious, and I make it to this day with my wife at home. She loves it. And that's just really good. They also eat lots of little breaded rolls, or they take bread and they either stuff meat in it or potatoes in it or jam in it, and it can be dessert or your meal or whatever. They have all sorts of pies. Same thing. You could have a breakfast pie. You could have a full meat pie. It's kind of interesting. And they love fish, but we actually weren't really supposed to eat fish over there. Sometimes it's radioactive still from Chernobyl and things like that. But they love fish. So their culture is just, I don't know, it's kind of cool. It depends on where you are. In the big cities, it's a little more closed off. Again, the walls on the streets, the houses, people keep to themselves a little more. You get on a public bus, and in America, you would expect there to be chatter, noise everywhere, on a bus, because everyone's talking on a phone or to their neighbor. In Russia, you get on a bus, and it's silent. And everyone sits there in their seat like this until they get where they're going, and then they get off. And if you're the missionary on the bus talking to somebody, everybody hears it and knows it. And that could be a great thing, and probably most of the time is a great thing. Sometimes we had to be careful. We didn't go up crazy on buses in terms of contacting. We sat by a person, had a friendly conversation, led it to the gospel if we could. But we didn't jump seats, and that sometimes could get us into trouble. So, but it was great. I'm trying to think. The language is a huge part of their culture, obviously, and what I love most about it is how rich a language it is. And what I mean by that is they have more words than we do. They have words that explain emotions that we don't have words to explain. That makes sense. So with that said, it's pretty difficult language. The grammar is really difficult. The language around is difficult. With that said, there were times on my mission where people, they would eventually ask if my companion or something was American or me, and then I would say, oh yeah, we're both American, and then they didn't believe me. They actually thought I was Russian. They're like, no. I can tell by his accent that he's kind of American, but you're Russian for sure. You have to show me your passport or I won't believe you're American. So it's hard, but you can learn it really well if you want to. And so I guess the language is beautiful, actually. We're really used to it. I think in America we kind of have that stereotype that it's maybe really harsh. And not to bash on Germans, but even Russians think German is harsh, like way too harsh. So Russian language is really pretty, actually, when you know it and are around it a lot. I don't know. It's not very harsh at all. And sometimes it sounds like they're yelling at each other, but I think that's part of the culture, is they actually are yelling at each other a lot. But it's not a mean yelling. It's like, that's how they converse. They just like, this is exactly what I want to say. This is exactly what I want to say. Okay, done. You know, we kind of in America mince words and walk on eggshells all the time, but they're really blunt. They're just like, this is how I feel and what I want to say, and done. And so it's actually really like it. You know, this is a funny nuance, but in America, when you're on the phone, you say, okay, all right, well, I'll talk to you later. Yeah, okay, thanks. See ya, bye. You say, there's like 4 byes in there. Talk to you later, see ya, bye, you know. In Russia, it's just like, bye. And sometimes you're really like, whoa, why'd you hang up on me so fast? But it wasn't really that fast. It was just 1 bye.